Julius Erving without Mo Cheeks. So in the starting lineup for the Sixers, Reggie Johnson, who is acquired from Kansas City, will start alongside of Mark Ivoroni. And Franklin Edwards, the second-year man, the little bullet out of Cleveland State, a first-round draft pick last year, inserted in the starting lineup. He started last night against Indiana and came off with a 17-point assist evening.
And just prior to the game, Mo Cheeks was questionable. As Billy Cunningham said, he had hoped he might be playing. Edwards can put the ball in the basket, and he does a fine job, but he will not fill the shoes quite the same way Mo Cheeks can do it.
Danny Ainge taking it to Andrew Toney, and that is one of the ploys of the Celtics tonight. They want to go right at Toney.
That's right. When you talk to Bill Fitch about defense, he talks about my defense is going to be my offense. I'm going to tell my guards tonight to be more aggressive offensively, to put pressure on Andrew Toney and the Philadelphia guards.
So the Sixers without two of their all-stars, in Julius Erving and Maurice Cheeks. And the question we were talking about, how do each team, how do they respond? We found out last night as Philadelphia beat Indiana, two men took charge, Malone and Toney. And there is Reggie Johnson. And the Celtics get it back. But the question, can they do it again the second night, and the second night against Boston?
Now we have some clarification on the floor. While that's coming up, Al, I want to talk about the acquisition of Reggie Johnson and Clement Johnson for Philadelphia. We're seeing right now how that is going to help their ball club. They get an injury to a Dr. J, then they can go to someone like Reggie Johnson. They can bring in Clement Johnson, who plays center and forward.
Well, you'd like to be able to do it maybe one night, but for an extended period is another story. And a foul is called on Robert Parrish. He doesn't need any of those kinds of fouls. It
was on Maxwell, I believe.
Yes, it was.
Right.
Never mind.
Maxwell a bit over the back of Ivoroni. Ivoroni, fundamentally a sound player, of course, has good position. He'll block out.
Toney goes up. No, he was 15 of 22 last night, 42 points against Indiana. Parrish beat Malone down. There is the advantage how Parrish perhaps may go to work on Malone, as Bill Fitch knows that his center is a good full-court center. He can really run, plus he's got the outside shot. So two areas in which he may try to take Malone out of his game.
And a running area is a good area that Parrish can do that in, Al, but the problem is in their first four games, and I indicated this a moment ago, Parrish's scoring average is down by 4 points, so perhaps he's having more difficult time against Philadelphia putting the ball in. Well, obviously he is.
Ainge overplaying, he knocked it out.
Now, offensively, Philadelphia will do some isolation. They'll take Toney and Malone and play a two-man game. Place them on one side. You have a great shooter with a guy you can dump the ball down to, and therefore it makes it difficult for the double team.
4 seconds on the shot clock. Not exactly where the Sixers would have liked the ball to be in Ivoroni's hand, deep on the sideline, so it goes back the other way. Celtics working on the shutout. Nearly 2 minutes gone by, and it's 2-0 Boston. Maxwell with Ivoroni on him. Reggie Johnson is watching Bird. Edwards knocked it away, but there is Ainge, very aggressive, picks it up. And Ivoroni pulls it down. Sixers, 54 wins, just 9 defeats. Toney tries again. Reggie Johnson, he's got it, and he is fouled.
Good effort by Reggie Johnson, and of course he can go inside and do that type of thing. That foul on Maxwell. Now you'll see the shot by Toney, and the Sixers will do this a lot. Get up the floor and get the shot up quickly. Johnson in good position, but it's rather interesting. When you look at the statistics, the Celtics in the same number of games had 246 more field goal attempts than Philadelphia coming into this ball game. You have two clubs that like to run, but obviously Boston does it a little bit better.
Ainge wide open, and it was Reggie Johnson who gets it to Malone, and there is Ainge again. Buckner nearly loses to Franklin Edwards. A lot of speed out there. This is without a Cheeks and an Erving.
Yeah.
Bird, his first go at Reggie Johnson, he blows by him.
Oh my. No big deal, right? Make a move to the right, take it behind your back, and take it inside. Beautiful play by Bird. He's so smooth.
A little introduction to Reggie. Mark Ivoroni. And And it is all tied at 4. We are 3 minutes into the game. Ainge just can't pass it up. Maxwell, where he likes it so well. That is his domain. The offensive boards for Cornbread Maxwell. And the Celtics lead it by 2. Malone leads in Tony. And Andrew Toney clicks for the first time tonight. He's averaging 20 points a game. And what a feed. A 20-foot, one-bounce pass by Moses Malone.
Backdoor play. Buckner, an excellent defensive player, obviously up overplaying the passing lane to keep the ball away from Andrew Toney. That's when the defense, the weak side, must be alert to give help. That was not bad defense by Buckner. He's doing what he's supposed to.
Maxwell then shows Ivoroni a couple of moves, and Boston leads by 2. Celtics have lost 3 straight. First time they have lost 3 in a row in 3 seasons. And some feel in the Boston area that this team just needs a wake-up call, and this could be it tonight, going up against the 76ers, regardless of whether Irving is playing or not. Ainge, how many loose balls has he come up with already?
I count 3, and that time it came up with a deuce. And, of course, Ainge will hang around that basket. If you get the ball, you can perhaps go the other way on them because he will get inside. But Maxwell, as you had indicated, is so strong in there that he's a guy you have to try to block away. He got the first one.
10-6 in favor of the Celtics. 7.5 to go in this first period. Buckner, he has Bird racing with Johnson. And fits the other way. Toney, a 4-on-2. Has Edwards as he slides in, and turns out he sets up Malone.
Well, you see Edwards go to the weak side of the basket. He had Malone wide open, but he didn't see him because he had all those green jerseys coming at him. And, of course, you get Moses that deep. It's problems for the other team.
Malone, who's a 6th leading scorer in the NBA, just under 25 a game. Ivoroni all over the board. Imagine somebody else being all over the boards on the same team with Malone. Reggie Johnson. Johnson, a first-round draft pick of San Antonio, moved right into the starting lineup. Then he went to Cleveland, to Kansas City, and now here in Philadelphia. And the Sixers really calling on Reggie Johnson now. Ivoroni, another rebound, 3-on-1. Malone is up there. The Sixers have taken the lead. And Bill Fitz has called a timeout. Malone.
Watch this fast breakout. And Malone, he's the guy getting in on the break. We talked about Parrish doing it. But Malone got upset with Ainge at that point, went after him to talk to him to say, don't undercut me, young guy.
With 6.5 to go, the Sixers move in front as we pause for this word from our local cable system. Billy Cunningham, who paces the sidelines with his club in range of winning 70 games this year. And right now, the supreme test, when you win 70, a lot of things are figured in, especially injuries and key injuries. Like now, Julius Irving and Maurice Cheeks out. Irving with a sprained right wrist. It's a day-to-day situation with both. Maurice Cheeks with tonsillitis. Ainge, who has been firing away, and he has 3 field goals for 6, and he ties the ball game up.
Well, Ainge obviously loves to hear his coach say, hey, go out and be offensive tonight, keep the pressure on them, and any guard would love to hear that because that really gives you a license to look for that offense. And the Celtics guards normally not as offensive-minded throughout the course of the season, as Bill Fitch admits.
Franklin Edwards, he buries it for his first field goal. And the Sixers lead by 2 again. Parrish gets his first field goal.
And, of course, that's one thing Boston would like to do, and we've touched upon that, Al, is try to run Parrish as much as they can to move Malone around and perhaps get up and get quick offense as they did on that play.
Toney backdoor gets his second field goal. And the Sixers bounce in front by 2. You know, if the team should meet again in the playoffs, you'll throw away the regular season records and you'll take a look at what they did against one another. And right now they are even at 2 games apiece, but this certainly would be demoralizing for the Celtics to come up short tonight, playing against the Sixers without two of their stars.
Well, and of course, each time you play, these clubs want to win. If nothing else was on the line other than that win, much less home court advantage. But right now, Boston, that foul, I believe, is on Ivoroni as they try to go into Maxwell. At this point, Boston is only a game and a half in front of Milwaukee. New Jersey 4 games back. They have to start thinking about home court advantage if they play one of those teams after the miniseries. That's assuming that they win the miniseries.
Maxwell with Ivoroni. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Parrish makes the fake, but can't conclude it. And Philadelphia will have the ball. Boston certainly knows what Philadelphia is going through as far as Boston responding to playing a game against Philly without Bird and without Cheeks. Last year, if you recall, or without Irving and Cheeks, last year Bird and Tiny went down as Malone just barrels in. And if you recall, when Tiny and Bird were out is when Boston started it rolling on their way to their 18-game win streak. Parrish had a message to deliver after having his problems with the outside shot. Figured, let's get warmed up inside.
You know, Parrish has had some problems shooting the ball as well as he would like against Boston. In the previous 4 games, he's only shooting 40%. So tonight here early, he's missed a few shots, and I'm sure that's because of Malone's size and his defense, and because of the defense Parrish must play.
And there is Malone digging in, but Bird rips it away. Cedric Maxwell, long and lean, long arms, plays it across to Ainge. And Ainge is not hesitating. Once he gets the ball, taking it right in on Andrew Toney.
And this is exactly what Coach Bill Fitch wants of the Boston Celtics. Take it, guards, and in this particular case, Ainge, because that's who Toney is playing, either score or try to get the foul on Toney. They're not deep at the guard position right now. Let's get Toney out of there, and we're in good shape.
Well, Clint Richardson is it on the bench.
That's right.
And which is fine. He's generally one of the first men off the bench at the guard spot.
But then where do you go from there? That's right.
And that's interesting, too, John, that Billy Cunningham keeping Richardson in that off-the-bench situation and moving Edwards into the starting line.
Yes. Well, he's done the same with Bobby Jones, and obviously he wants that experience and that quality-type player coming in off the bench, and he doesn't want to mess up that rotation.
Well, just as Philadelphia gets Bobby Jones back, they have the other injuries, and Billy Cunningham wondering why that was against his man.
That foul on Edwards. Ainge trying to apply pressure, and the Celtics will go in line on you, and they want to try to force Philadelphia into taking as much time as possible to bring the ball up the floor.
Tie ball game, 3:45 left in this first period. Buckner heaves it up, and Reggie Johnson is there. Andrew Toney. Celtics know what he could do. Last year in the playoffs, 38 points in one game against the Celtics, 25 coming in the fourth quarter. Maxwell starts it out. Ainge racing with Edwards, and he still has it. And he'll go to the line.
Fine play by Danny Ainge. Now watch Edwards come in to try to take the foul and prevent the shot, which he certainly tried to do. Ainge still gets it up, and he might get a three-point shot out of it, or a three-point effort out of it. That's defense by Maxwell that triggers it.
Well, Ainge didn't mean it to be a 360, but it turned out that way, and
he's been watching Dr. J film. Body control and ball control.
Well, you think he is upset not being at spring training right now. I doubt it. 11 points for Danny Ainge, a big first period as Bobby Jones enters. Jones, who fractured the right big toe, has now been back for the last 3 games. He's in along with Clint Richardson, so Toney gets a seat before he was able to catch on fire. Only a couple of field goals for Toney. Billy Cunningham hoping that Toney did not use up the quota last night, 15 of 22 for 42 against Indiana.
Well, that's rare. That's a rare Bird, right?
Oh.
See him miss an open jump shot. I think it's amazing, as great as Bird is, how often the game won't go to him, and he won't force it, and then suddenly he'll go get it and take it over.
Almost a freeze frame right there, and Moses Malone, who is doing more passing and enjoying it, sets up Clint Richardson.
Clint nothing more than moving off the ball because Ainge on the weak side there, of course, looking to Malone for the pass. Richardson slips inside, and Richardson is one of those mobile type players. He'll move around on you, and he's good in that paint area.
2.5 minutes to go in the first period. Al Albert along with John McLaughlin. Special edition NBA on the USA Network. Bird runs it down. He had the shot, but he finds Maxwell. Maxwell doing his Danny Ainge impression, but he'll only go to the line.
Maxwell, of course, when he gets the ball that deep, he is so difficult to play, and he draws the foul from Malone.
Foul number 1 on Moses Malone. Timeout taken by the Philadelphia 76ers with 2 minutes and 17 seconds to go in period 1 here at the Spectrum in Philly. It's the Sixers leading the Boston Celtics 22-21. Al Albert and John McLaughlin live from the Spectrum in Philadelphia. Tonight, NBA Special Edition. And it's the two powers of the East. Well, not that far east. We're talking Atlantic Division. 76ers, 54-9. Boston, 44-19. Can you imagine being 44-19 and being 10 games out of first place?
You know, that's the thing. You can't judge Milwaukee's record, LA's record, Boston's record in regard to what the 76ers have done this year, because all those teams have great records. It's just Philadelphia has just taken off, and they're hiding.
You know, we talk about the powers of the East, but all of a sudden you take a look, the Atlantic Division has become the most powerful in the NBA. New Jersey, 41-24. The Knicks, red hot. They have won 20 and lost 4 in the last 24 games, and they are now 34-30 and very much in the picture for the playoffs.
And that could, of course, be a real factor for this ball club we're seeing right here tonight, Boston, because they will, even though they have that great record, they will have to play a mini-series, and they're obviously going to play a pretty fair team, Atlanta, New Jersey, and I'm sure they would prefer to play Atlanta.
Well, they've lost to the Knicks the last 2 times they've played them, including Sunday when they were soundly booed by the Boston Garden fans. And they've also lost the last game against the Nets. Reggie Johnson, Clem Johnson is now in there. Sixers fashioning some of their depth, but Maxwell flies away. 8 points now for Cedric.
And you see Max getting out on the break, and of course the Celtics, like Philadelphia, they have so many people that can get in on the break. Of course, that only makes your fast break opportunities better, but first you have to get the ball.
3-point lead for the Celtics. Clem Johnson, McHale pounding on the boards, and he is called for the foul. So Bill Fitch making changes. He now has Gerald Henderson in the backcourt with Danny Ainge.
That's foul on Clint Richardson, apparently, as Tony comes back in the game. McHale had the inside position, so they give it over on Richardson. Of course, McHale, the controversy around him, if it's controversy, is that he's going to be a free agent. Where is he going to sign and for how much? Well, because he is a fine player.
Recently, he was warming up before the start of a game, and one of the fans asked him, Kevin, what are you going to do? Are you going to sign with Boston? And he says, well, listen, on this next shot, if I hit it, I'm staying with Boston. If I miss it, I'm going to sign with the Knicks. Then he proceeded, he lofted the ball over the backboard. Was he trying to say something?
Well, then I heard him say, I'm signing with Boston tomorrow, and he might be playing around with them there also.
That's what he said tonight.
We don't know.
Well, right now, he's in a Celtic uniform, and he gives Boston a 4-point lead. Gerald Henderson in the backcourt. Tiny Archibald has been out the last 4 games for the Celtics, suffering from a sinus condition. He is on the bench, and he is dressed tonight. But he is not the first guard coming off the bench.
Gerald Henderson, of course, drawing Tony as Tony misses there. Henderson is an excellent ball player, and Fitch likes the way that young man plays both ends of the floor for him. He says he's very consistent.
And Boston wasting little time getting that ball down, trying to run against Philadelphia. Bird now having a rest on the Boston bench. 1.5 minutes to go in this first period. Boston leads it by 4. Richardson saves, but it'd been better if he had not, as Maxwell reaches the double figures mark as he reaches for that basket.
And Philadelphia now with 5 turnovers in this ball game. And of course, that time Boston going in for the 2 easy ones, and that's sometimes what occurs when the defense forces the turnovers.
Speaking of forces, Richardson puts it up. The Celtics were trailing 22-21. They now lead 30-22, and it could be even one more, as Parrish doing that one by the numbers, taking his time, looking a little mechanical, but he got the job done.
And look at Parrish get down the floor. The big guy will go. Well, he walks a lot, Al. He's one of those players that will shuffle those feet quite a bit, but in the NBA,
picked it up, yep.
They're a little forgiving in that situation, Parrish, and that's good for Parrish, but it's the transition game of the Celtics right now that is a key factor for them. They're getting down and scoring on Philadelphia before the defense gets back.
Bill Fitch elects to stay with Robert Parrish here in the middle, while Cunningham has given Moses Malone a rest.
Well, Malone played a lot of time last night also. He played more than his average. He played 42 minutes, and having to play hard minutes, perhaps Billy wants to get him early rest.
10 straight points now for the Boston Celtics with 1 minute to go in this first period. How many offensive threats out there for the Sixers right now? As Clem Johnson barrels his way in. He certainly could do that at 6'10" and 240.
Well, Bobby Jones can certainly score, but Clement Johnson's a fine offensive player. He's not a great one, but Edwards is probably their most outstanding offensive player in the game right now. Ivoroni and Richardson more of a yeoman type players.
Ivoroni, he could be close to double figures in rebounding here in the first period. Rebound. 30 seconds to go. Edwards pulls the trigger.
And Ainge releases right away, as many ball clubs will do as they come out on the shooter.
No call. That one is thrown out towards Billy Cunningham.
Another turnover.
Kid, yep.
Philadelphia now with a number of turnovers. That's costly because that might have had 2 on the other end.
And it leaves Boston with a last shot. 14 seconds to go. They have a 5-point lead here in Philadelphia. 76ers have won the 2 games here, while Boston has won the 2 at the Boston Garden. 2 seconds to go, and it will not go. So that is the end of the first 12 minutes of action here at the Spectrum in Philadelphia. The Boston Celtics, trying to snap a 3-game losing streak, lead the 76ers by 5. It's Boston 31 and Philadelphia 26. Well, it was last year when the 76ers last lost the game here. Billy Cunningham's team has won 22 straight at the Spectrum. They now have a record of 29-2 on their home court. And right now that is being threatened, playing tonight's game without Julius Erving, who is out with a sprained right wrist, and Maurice Cheeks, suffering from tonsillitis. Franklin Edwards in a starting spot cans his 3rd field goal. And the Sixers move to within 3. Supreme test for Philadelphia tonight.
Good opportunity for people like Edwards to get a lot of playing time and respond to that.
And here is Edwards spurting out, being watched by Henderson, and he blows right by him. Still the quickest, fastest guards around. And Edwards convincingly wins that race. And here's Edwards again.
Turnovers.
Huffing and puffing, streaks by, but Bobby Jones cannot hold on.
Bobby Jones hung back just for a moment, apparently to leave room for Edwards to try to take it all the way in if he wanted to.
It's like a wide receiver go down and deep 2 plays in a row. It looked like he was huffing and puffing that second time down. So now it's a 1-point game. McHale over Ivoroni. That feathery touch.
What a difficult shot to get to. They post him up on that side. He turns baseline with that high jump shot. You can't play it.
Richardson may not have meant that to be, but it turns into an assist.
Now that was fine effort by Ivoroni. He had body contact by his own player, had to throw it up left-handed.
Parrish gets it back. And there is Franklin Edwards again. But 3 Celtics are back. So he stops and pops. Edwards perhaps getting a little carried away.
Right. Although he has a lot of confidence in that jump shot, and he's an excellent jump shooter.
It looks like it's off Henderson. No, says the official.
Now I thought that had to be off Henderson, as the ball was deflected down on his foot, had there been no foul by Edwards, which there was not.
1-point lead for the Celtics. Henderson and Age, Bird, Parrish, and McLean. McLean for the reverse. 6'10" and 225 as he
McHale.
tiptoes.
That's right.
McHale, I'm sorry.
And his feet smooth in there. And then when he tiptoes, that makes him even bigger. And they get into that post-up off a double screen, and then Bird pops back and dumps it down.
Long rest for Moses Malone for the Sixers.
He's set to come back.
Henderson busts inside, and he draws the foul.
Well, at this point, Boston's taking very little time to get into their offense. And when they do, they have a tendency to work the left side of the floor. They set up with Bird and McHale, and then they try to work to McHale because they know they can get a good percentage shot from him.
So changes made just as Franklin Edwards was looking to take over this game for Philadelphia. He picks up his third personal foul, so he goes to the bench. Henderson now on the line. A third-round draft pick by San Antonio. He was cut by the Spurs. As a free agent, came to the Celtic camp, won himself a job, and has become very highly regarded off the bench.
Well, he gives you defense and he can give you offense, and he's a player that is continuing to learn the game. And I think Edwards the same thing. He's a player that is still learning a lot about his game and professional basketball.
Malone makes the move on Roby, stays right with it. Vintage Moses Malone.
Well, that way you get a rebound and a basket out of it, see?
And end up still shooting 50%.
You know, his coach, Billy Cunningham, was one of the best ever at taking a shot and getting his own rebound back.
Just the second field goal for Larry Bird. Celtics lead it by 5, 3 minutes into the second quarter. Tony in the backcourt with Richardson, Malone in the middle, Bobby Jones and Clement Johnson up front. For Boston, M.L. Carr, number 30, watching Tony. Floats it into Malone. 2 men on him, and he beats both Bird and Roby.
Now with Roby in the game, Malone will feel a different type of defensive pressure than he does with Parrish. Parrish, a little bit more finesse type. Roby is just going to beat up on him, and Malone, of course, will know that, and it will be more physical.
Not to mention McHale. So Malone knows when he goes up against Boston, he'll see the three-headed lion in Parrish, McHale, and Roby. McHale and Roby, bumper and thumper.
Yes, and here's bumper or thumper, whichever one getting the foul here.
And back the other way, Malone drives in. Malone off the bench, taking over here in the second after a nice rest. He has 12 points. Well, there's the bumper. Tied up with Moses Malone.
You know, Roby's an interesting player because you don't expect him to be an offensive player. And at times, he'll come out, he'll assert himself offensively, and I've seen him have some super nights from that offensive position. And on the year, he shoots 58%, so that's good percentage shot.
It is heating up here in the Spectrum as M.L. Carr with the hand check, and he is called on the foul. And there's another one of the very physical defensive players in the league.
And he'll play the guard or that forward position. Now, he has to contend with the quickness of Tony, but Tony against Boston has been relatively silent because his best games have been against the Celtics.
Well, he picks up an assist. Malone pouring it on. He has 14 points. Tony has been quiet, but let's get to a little later in the ball game as the Sixers have moved in front. The crowd responding. They know their team is playing hurt without Irving, without Cheek. But with 8 minutes to go in the second period, Philadelphia has bounced in front of Boston as we pause for this word from our local cable system. Well, here in Philadelphia, they say Andrew Toney's a pretty good point guard, too, when he has to be.
And does Malone push off here? Well, it was difficult to pick up at that point, but he had good inside position as the Celtics try to front. Malone then gaining all that ground to have the ball thrown to him under the basket, and when he gets it in there, count it up.
Philadelphia bounces in front. They have 19 games remaining. They've won 54. So they must win 16 of the 19 to become the first team ever to win 70 in a regular season. Most wins ever, 69 by the Los Angeles Lakers back in 71-72. That's the year they won 33 straight. Sixers with the lead and the ball. Andrew Toney races it up with Carr. 3 men on Malone. And Bird starts it out. Henderson in the middle with M.L. Carr. Darrell Garrison sends it the other way, calls a traveling violation on Carr.
The pass just a bit difficult to handle. It was a little bit behind M.L. Carr, and of course the two players were rather close together. Anyway, it is a turnover, and that's a plus for Philadelphia, obviously. And Philly trying to play to Malone as much as they can. Tony here quickly.
And it stays here, says Dick Bavetta.
Well, the matchup between Malone and Roby is fun to watch. It's not one you would want to get caught in between.
Tony pushes it through. Third field goal for Andrew Toney. 7 minutes to go in the first half. Sixers leading it by 3.
You know, Al, one of the problems when you play against Malone, you have to try to block him away early because he's strong, he can push inside, and also he moves well to the basket. He's quick.
And helping out on Bird and helping him up.
Well, he knows you have to step up on Bird, and there was a double screen set, top of the circle for Bird, and if you don't step up on that, that's a for sure shot.
Malone gets his second foul. Malone looking, and in the way was M.L. Carr. Looked like it was off of Roby and out of bounds, and it was.
The officials agree with you.
Yep.
They generally check with your call before they make one.
Maybe once again. Malone barreling in. Boston Celtics getting a good taste of Moses Malone here in the first half. He has 16, and the Sixers lead it by 5.
You know, since he came back in the game and Roby's in the game against him, he seems to be more possessed than at the start. And that man can cool things down quickly in a lot of ways.
Well, Sixers had scored 10 points in a row before Larry Bird sails one through. 3-point lead for Philadelphia. Bobby Jones. And it's Bird, another guy who uses his position pretty well. Gets it on Malone, which is certainly a task.
Uses position great. Bird just on the trail with the defense falling back, and you have a guy trailing like that, the guy that got the rebound, and yet has that type of touch. It's effective.
Bird, who has been quiet, but you know how well he can explode and carry his team back. 5:40 to go in this second period. More changes to Bill Fitch. Roby goes out, and Parrish replaces him, and Quinn Buckner comes back in, replacing Henderson.
And that foul was on Henderson. You could see the double up on Tony. Obviously, Boston would like for Tony to pass rather than shoot.
1 point lead for the Sixers. Tony.
Well, if you can't get inside, just take it deeper. Tony can do that. And another matchup we're not even talking about. At times, we're seeing, well, now with Parrish back in, it changes a little bit. McHale and Clement Johnson also matching up.
Carr didn't care about scoring that basket. He fulfilled his plan. Foul number 2 on Andrew Toney. They want to get Tony out of there.
And that, of course, the plan. And they feel with Tony in the ballgame, he's going to concentrate more offensively, especially with the injuries they have to the other people that we've mentioned. Therefore, more of the burden is on Tony, so he might be thinking even more offense than normal, so take advantage of him at the other end.
M.L. Carr steps to that foul line, having hit his last 20. So he looks now to start a new streak. Boston, 9 of 11 from the foul line. Philadelphia, 0 of 1.
When it falls apart, it falls quickly. He shoots 76% from the line on the season.
5:10 to go in the second period. Al Albert and John McLaughlin, USA, special edition NBA. The Celtics and the Sixers. McHale and Clem Johnson. A lot of muscle meeting there. And McHale, one of the leading shot blockers in the league, got a piece of that. Now they go at the other end of the court. Getting some help from Bobby Jones and a 3-second violation.
That was an excellent call because McHale did not get his foot out of there. Clement Johnson and McHale, just an outstanding matchup because Clement Johnson, one of the few people that has the size in bulk to go with McHale, but McHale has that great reach that's so difficult to get over.
4.5 minutes to go in the second period. Johnson picked up from Indiana. Jones shooting 1,000 for the night, 1 for 1. Bobby, who's coming off the bench, he averages 9 points per ball game, but that's the least of what he does for this team. Larry Bird heating up. He has 10 points, 8 of them coming here in the second quarter, and Bird has scored the last 8 points for the Celtics.
Now, at the defensive end, we're seeing Clement Johnson play Parrish, letting Malone go over on McHale.
Tony backdoor. He's got it, and he is fouled. 10 points for Tony.
And Tony showing he can move off the ball also with good quickness on Carr inside. Rather than controlling the ball out high, he can be the control guard or the off-ball guard, obviously, and the quickness gets him in for 2.
So M.L. Carr picks up his second. He goes to work on Tony, and now he comes out, and back in is Danny Ainge. So probably Buckner will switch off and play Tony coming back.
Bill Fitch has a tendency to substitute his guard line in tandem and let certain people play together.
Sixers lead it by 5. Tony taking Ainge inside, and Tony just loses it.
What a nightmare when he's coming up at you. Which way do you push him? How do you play?
Buckner quickly brings it back, and he is smashed by Clement Johnson.
Quinn Buckner, by the way, has an excellent left hand, and when he goes to the basket, that left hand is probably as effective as the right. And here, he has to go to the left hand to get it away from the defensive player, which then protects the ball and draws the foul.
Well, that was quite creative for Quinn, who comes over to Boston, of course, in a controversial move. Milwaukee signing Dave Cowens out of retirement. Compensation, Quinn Buckner coming in here, and it has not been a bed of roses for Buckner. Celtics having problems in the backcourt this year.
Well, it's obviously an adjustment for Buckner or any player when he's happy in a city, he's happy with the team, he has to make that adjustment. You know, it's not always easy to do, and it sometimes takes time. And fortunately for Quinn, he is getting playing time in Boston. And fortunate for Boston, they've had him to go to with the injuries to Tiny. He's a quality guy, I'll tell you.
3-point lead for the 76ers. 3 minutes, 10 seconds to go in the half. Tony and Buckner going at it.
Well, with that type of isolation, I think if I'm Boston, I still want to shoot someone at Tony and double him up.
As Tony is decked, yes, he is certainly feeling right now the focus of the Boston Celtics.
You know, the fans here yelling at that, but actually that's the back man, his responsibility to call out that screen to his player. That's the first person you should yell at.
Traveling violation, and Boston gets it back. But first, a timeout will be taken by Philadelphia. So with 2 minutes and 38 seconds to go in the second quarter, the Philadelphia Sixers holding on to a 3-point lead over the Boston Celtics, 52-49. Well, the Boston Celtics are trying to snap that streak along with their current overall 3-game losing streak. First time they have dropped 3 in a row in 3 seasons. And coming here into Philadelphia, going up against the Sixers without Dr. J, who's out with a sprained right wrist, without Maurice Cheeks, who is suffering from tonsillitis. And right now, the Celtics find themselves on the short end by 3 with 2.5 minutes to go in the first half. As Celtics with Larry Bird inbounding, he has been doing everything he could to bring Celtics back in this game. He has hit his last 5 shots.
Yes, 5 for 5 in this quarter. The Celtics shooting 58% for the period. Philadelphia 65, and Philadelphia getting more shots at the basket at this point in the ball game.
Parrish inside step on Bobby Jones and connects. 9 points for Parrish. That's his first field goal in the second quarter.
And remember, against the Philadelphia 76ers this year, he's averaging 16 and yet 20 on the season against the league.
Ainge hustles it out. Watched by Richardson. I thought he traveled. May have a case. Bird, line drive. 6 of 6 in this period. And Bird, who had 2 points after 1 quarter, now has 14 points.
Al, when he's shooting like that, you cannot lay back on him. You have to get up, and believe me, Bird is very capable of taking it to the hoop, but at least you have to make him do that to perhaps get him to pass the ball then. He's shooting it too well.
And now the Celtics have just taken the lead, have the ball. Bird is out in front, but unfortunately for Boston, it was Parrish in the middle of the break. Now they get into safer hands. Bird wants it. Parrish again with that stutter step.
Parrish has always been an amazing player to me, Al, in that he's not fluid. Now watch, it's rather a jerky type hook, but he's a very effective shooter. He shoots the ball well on the year. He's shooting 57%, which is outstanding, and he has an excellent touch.
So Boston now striking for 8 straight points. There's a leapfrog in front with 1:16 to go in the half. Halftime, John will be talking with 76er coach Billy Cunningham about this incredible season for the Sixers. The crowd now going wild as Andrew Toney, I believe, is called for a foul.
Yes, a pushing foul. I don't know if we would have that on isolation. It would be interesting to see, because Ainge is a guy that really created an almost turnover, then went after the ball, and then apparently they say Toney pushed him away.
22nd timeout. I was going to say before, the Sixers would love to have gotten out of this half with Toney not getting his 3rd foul, and they, on this, feel what a waste of a 3rd foul. Well, this game is being brought to you with the express written consent of the National Basketball Association. Any rebroadcast, retransmission, or other use of the pictures and accounts of the game without the express written consent of the NBA and USA Network is prohibited.
Now, that was a difficult foul to call. You had an opportunity to see that as Al was reading the disclaimer there. Perhaps there shouldn't have been a foul call at all on that, and I think Ainge probably is the guy that really created the contact initially. So that's a tough call for Philadelphia and Andrew Toney.
And Danny Ainge will now go to the foul line.
Okay, now let's figure out who's playing guard for Philadelphia, because Richardson's in the game with 3 forwards and a center. So it will probably be either Bobby Jones or Reggie Johnson. And I think it will be Reggie Johnson playing that guard position. So we're seeing how Billy Cunningham is adjusting to the lack of depth at guard.
So what you're saying is Philadelphia going to the 1-3-1.
Sure.
Right.
Richardson will have to handle the ball, obviously.
58 seconds to go. Sixers trail by 4.
Bad pass on the post-up to Malone. But let me ask you this one. You had Reggie Johnson in the game, who is a forward. Bird finally misses, and you have Buckner guarding him. Wouldn't you try to post him up on the mismatch?
Richardson again looking for Reggie Johnson, and is tipped away by a Celtic. Larry Bird looking for the definition of that last whistle. Darryl Garretson. We have coming up special feature, one of our USA telecasts of Darryl Garretson right in the midst of things as Reggie Johnson collects it. We mic Darryl Garretson for one of the games, and that'll be coming up tomorrow night at halftime of our game between Dallas and Indiana, game 1 of our doubleheader tomorrow.
6 seconds in this ball game, or in the first half of this ball game.
And that ends it. The Philadelphia 76ers have to feel pretty good about themselves, playing this first half without Julius Erving and without Maurice Cheeks. Right in there against the Boston Celtics. It's been a seesaw half, and the Celtics lead by 2 at halftime. Division against Philadelphia. The two of them are leading the division, but it's hardly a match race this year. 10 games separate the two teams.
Probably the first season in what, 3 or 4 seasons that both of these clubs don't feel that intense pressure every day, day in and day out, whether you're in a game or not, to look at the other club and try to beat that record, because they've gone right to the wire regular season many times.
Boston the last 3 years under Fitch has won 61, 62, and then last year 63 games.
Tony, by the way, excuse me, I'll go ahead.
I was going to say they cannot win 64. They cannot continue that progression. The best they could do, as Tony starts Philadelphia off and ties the ball game at 56. I was going to say the best Boston could do this year is to match last year's record of 63-19. To do that, they would have to win all their remaining games, and 19.
Anytime you win 60 games, that's outstanding. I was going to say Tony had 6 assists at halftime, and one reason is he's also getting his shots up. He had up 11 attempts, but he's having to pass the ball more because of some of the keying defense by Boston.
Malone streaking out. There's a little guard in everybody. And Richardson is fouled by Ames. Well, the best line in the first half belongs to none other than Larry Bird. 14 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, and throwing a steal.
And he did not assert his game at all. And you'll look at the deflection here by Malone as he brings the ball up the floor. But Bird just flows with the game, and then the next thing you know, he scores some and rebounds some. He doesn't force anything.
Malone takes Parrish outside. Well, there's the switch. 18 points for Moses Malone, who averages just under 25 a game. 6th best in the league in scoring. First in rebounding at 15.5 per game. Buckner finds the outside shot after missing his first 5. High ball game at 58.
Buckner shooting 45% on the season.
Reggie Johnson tries to gift wrap it for Moses Malone. And another foul on the Celtics.
Quinn Buckner. Now watch this situation. Bird's trying to front. The ball will go into Reggie. The double team by Parrish. That leaves Malone open. Therefore, the guard, who was Buckner, had to come back in.
And Buckner with a steal is gone. So Quinn Buckner 0 of 5 from the floor in the first half, has connected with 2 field goals here. The Celtics both in front by 2. Tony in the backcourt. Richardson starting the second half. Edwards has 3 personal fouls, and here the Celtics running again with Bird and Buckner, and the trailer Maxwell.
Excellent fast break, and Buckner, of course, the guy that made that play. Now watch, he penetrates, he pulls Richardson to him, and then dumps it back for the easy 2 by the big guy.
So Quinn Buckner in the spotlight in the opening 2 minutes of the second half. And the Celtics now have a 4-point lead. 5th meeting between these 2 teams. They have split the first 4.
Al, it appears the New York Knicks are red hot again tonight in Milwaukee. They're up 18 on the Bucks. Not an easy place to go play.
Knicks looking for their 7th straight. They've won 20 of their last 24. Maxwell, what the Knicks are doing now in this 6-game win streak, they have beaten all teams with winning records. If this is perhaps another test of where they are compared to where they were.
Beautiful play by Tony. Take it inside on the defense. Bird steps up, but Tony still makes the shot. The Celtics are 4 for 4 so far in this period.
Ames wide open, pulls the trigger as Danny Ames, 14 points. He had 11 of those in the first quarter.
Well, when you swing the ball like that on double up on one side, you can find the open man. Push off on Johnson as Bird continues to front him.
Boston with a lineup of Danny Ainge and Quinn Buckner in the backcourt, Larry Bird and Cornbread Maxwell at the forwards, and Robert Parrish in the middle. Parrish brings Moses outside. So Maxwell tries to go to work inside.
Right, you can see how they'll bring Parrish out, and he has that shooting touch that he can go out there and you at least have to play him, and that opens it up inside for Maxwell.
So now the Sixers come back with Tony in the backcourt with Richardson, Malone in the middle, Ivaroni, and Reggie Johnson up front.
The 76ers not doing a lot offensively tonight. They're really just working Malone and Tony. Here's a turnover, but they're not doing a lot of other types of execution offensively.
Larry Bird rushes all along, and now the Celtics open up a 6-point lead, and Billy Cunningham has called a timeout. With Bird, it was just a question of when he would get there.
And then that situation, it was the right place, the right time on the turnover.
Well, Dr. J, watching in his street clothes, sees a carry by Larry Bird. Boston Celtics trying to reel away. They lead the Sixers now by 6 points, and Philadelphia had come out storming. They'd scored the first 4 points to move back in front here in the second half, but now the Celtics on top. 8:15 to go in the third.
Now, turnovers have hurt Philadelphia a little bit. They had 12 at halftime, and they've had a couple here starting this third period, and some of them really not caused by the defense. Some of them just bad passes or mishandling, and those are the types of turnovers that really hurt, and then it compounds it when the other club, Boston in particular, goes the other way to score.
A breather for Andrew Toney. He goes out with 16 points, and Franklin Edwards, 3 personal fouls, comes back in. Toney also with 3 personals. Watch out. Ainge makes the save, and Buckner starts down. So Buckner taking control of the Celtics' fortunes here in this third period. Tough screen to work off.
How do you shoot over it, right? Travel.
Maxwell taking a new one out of the repertoire, putting the ball between the knees and making the fake. I've seen that somewhere
well, it works
before.
if you don't travel.
Old Globetrotter move. 7.5 to go in the third period. Richardson swings it to Reggie Johnson. The long reach of Reggie Johnson.
Well, that can be a telegraph-type penetration, but Reggie Johnson certainly does it well. Bird stays in front of him. Johnson just makes the play.
10 points for Reggie Johnson. Celtics lead it by 4. Celtics 19-13 on the road. Bird, that quick release, and he snaps it through. 18 points for Larry Bird.
Something Reggie Johnson probably should think about, and you know, it's easy to sit here and say, but when Bird gives the ball up, then he's not getting up and overplaying and try to keep the ball away from him, and Bird's just shooting the jump shot.
It was Ainge who started it, and he finished it. He's the one who tipped it to Bird.
Ainge with good quickness and with some defensive expertise. He's a guy that's forced a few turnovers here.
He averages 10 points a game. He has 16 tonight, as Ainge now firmly entrenched in the starting lineup for the Celtics. Tiny Archibald again is dressed, but he has not played tonight. He's had a sinus condition that's kept him out of the last 4 games. Bird reaching. He's on his way to perhaps a triple-double tonight. Points, rebounds, and assists. It could be number 4 on Franklin Edwards. And it is.
Yes, it is. What we're seeing offensively for Philadelphia, they're struggling a little bit. There's good defense by Boston, plus Philadelphia is going into their initial offense, and then it's breaking down from there because with Toney out of the game, and of course Dr. J out of the game, and Cheeks out of the game, they don't have people that they can go to in that one-on-one strength to just get a good shot when they need it, except, of course, when Toney comes back in or dump it down to Malone.
Well, Bobby Jones is back in, makes his presence felt very quickly. 4 times all-defensive team in the NBA. Hard pass for Richardson to catch. Is a bullet pass from 1.5 feet away, and he concludes the play.
The interesting thing, Philadelphia is not getting a shot off the front part of their offense. If they call a play, and there's a turnover by Maxwell, if they call a play and they execute that play, they're not getting a shot out of that execution.
5:46 to go in this third period. Andrew Toney slices it across on Buckner. Malone pulls Parrish outside, then goes in. Richardson. And Reggie Johnson keeps it alive. Bobby Jones wisely pulls it out. They have a full complement on the clock, and an ovation from the crowd. They're sticking with their Sixers tonight, playing without Irving and Cheeks, and hanging in against the Celtics, and they are now just 4 points back as Reggie Johnson with a dozen points and a standing ovation from the big crowd at the Spectrum. As a timeout is taken by Boston, holding on to a 4-point lead. As we now pause for this word from our local cable system, Special Edition NBA on the USA Network. Well, John, the 76ers tonight looking for that other guard.
And what an effort here by Malone. Now look at this. He goes inside from outside like a guard. Then he saves the ball out of bounds. Just a magnificent effort. He keeps it alive there and really is responsible to a great degree for the basket that they finally do score off of that effort. When he walked off the floor, Billy Cunningham met him and just said, patted him and said, great effort.
Boston, they've made 8 of their 9 shots here in this third period. Philadelphia right behind, 7 of 11. It is getting very warm in the Spectrum. 7 on the shot clock. Bird, swish. 10 field goals for Bird. He has 20 points. He's the 11th leading scorer in the NBA at 23 a game. He is 7th in rebounds, 10th in steals, and 10th in foul shooting percentage. Making a mark. Tony flying in, and he is pushed away by Quinn Buckner, his foul number 2.
Now that's when it's so difficult to play Tony. If he gets an isolation on one wing, or if he gets the screen and then he goes to the baseline, he's probably got the best first step in basketball. It's tremendously quick. He's a difficult guy to play. And of course, when he goes baseline, you don't have a lot of help.
6'3" and 190 in his 3rd season out of Southwest Louisiana. That's the first foul shot scored by the Sixers in the game.
That's amazing. And it's been a physical game.
1 of 3 for the Sixers. Boston is 12 of 16. A good look all around of Andrew Toney, and he has 18 points. He and Malone with 18 apiece. Last night, Toney had 42 against Indiana, while Malone had 35. 4-point lead for the Celtics. Ainge dishes it off to Bird. Red hot Larry Bird. He is on a roll. 22 points for Bird. He was 1 for 5 in the first quarter. He is 10 of 11 since that time. And they have been from the outside.
That's right. It's been all jump shots, which tells Philadelphia as Bobby Jones goes inside, you've got to come out at him. You can't let him have jump shots when he knocks them in like that.
Earlier we talked about all the possibilities of players to guard Bird, but he's only seen Reggie Johnson.
That's correct.
And he really gets a good look at Reggie Johnson there. Ainge off target. Another possibility for the Celtics. They have full 20 seconds on the clock. Bird thought about it. Says, I'm hot, but...
Am I that hot?
He also looked at the shot clock. 3.5 to go in the 3rd period. Celtics lead it by 4. And this goes against Robert Harris. It takes something to put Malone into the first row.
Obviously, defensively, Reggie Johnson is playing over on Bird because Billy Cunningham likes to bring... you'll see the push here. You'll see the contact inside because Billy Cunningham wants to keep Bobby Jones on Maxwell because he's strong inside on the post-up.
Well, Billy Cunningham knows that the Sixers could stay close into the 4th quarter. They could go on a motion for 12 minutes, considering what they may do here tonight, playing without Julius Erving and without Mo Cheeks, but it may become very difficult now with Tony getting another foul.
That's his 4th, is that right? Yes. Tony's 4th, Buckner in the post-up inside. And, of course, I think that's what Fitch would like to see, keep the pressure on Tony. And so that means Buckner must look for the hoop. Bird traveled. He lifted that pivot foot up. He tried to cover it up, but it was too obvious.
Well, one mistake in a game isn't bad.
That's all he gets for this month. Right. Don't make another one.
Now Tony will see what he could do at this end of the court. Playing with a 4 foul. Cedric Maxwell watches him. Malone. Line drive by Moses Malone. His 10th field goal. He has an even 20. And this ball game is tied up. 2.5 remaining. Harris, no. Running it down with Malone. Whose ball? The crowd tells you it's Philadelphia.
And it's Malone again, hustling after the loose ball. Responsible for his club getting it back.
Well, when you have 54 wins in 63 games, you know how to win, no matter what the situation is. And that's what Philadelphia has working for them tonight. Without Irving and without Cheeks, could take the lead against the Celtics with just 2 minutes to go in the 3rd period. Dick Rivetta stops play. The basket does not count.
Illegal defense. I thought that was coming. Now, that could be a break for Philly because the clock was running down. When Malone gave it up, it had just gone from 4 to 3 seconds. And Dick Rivetta called an illegal defensive warning on Boston. That's a new 24, so they have more time to execute their offense.
Tony saw the baseline, and Ainge picked up the foul. That's foul number 2 on Danny Ainge.
You know, when you isolate with him over there like that, Al, if you shade him baseline or shade him middle, either way, you're giving him a step. When you give him a step, it's deadly. On the other hand, if you don't give him a step, you give him more choices.
You don't give him a step, he'll take it anyway.
That's right.
Tony in range right there. He's got the baseline again, but Parrish now coming out. 12 still on the shot clock.
Philly taking a lot of time getting into their offense.
4 on the shot clock. This is for the lead. And it's Bobby Jones delivering.
1 second on the shot clock.
Exactly as the play was designed. 1:20 to go in the third period. Bird. A rare miss by Larry Bird. And they are dancing in the seats at the Spectrum as Philadelphia brings it down with 1:05 left in the third period.
It's been a spurt game. One team spurts, the other team spurts offensively. You'll notice it's a little slower game right now. Therefore, it seems to be swinging more for Philadelphia because they prefer that type of game tonight, using Tony and Malone specifically at the offensive end. Boston, of course, wants to get out and continue to go. And when they opened up their lead, they did it off some fast break basketball, some turnovers by Philadelphia.
Andrew Toney, 80% from the foul line. There are a few raised eyebrows a few years ago when the Sixers drafted Andrew Toney 8th in the first round. Scoring machine from southwest Louisiana. They may have mistaken him with a guy by the name of Bo Lamar, who went the same route.
I had a fellow come up to me when Tony was in college and Archibald's in the game and said, "Remember this name, Andrew Toney." I said, yeah. Well, he was right. Oh, my.
Larry Bird steps inside of Malone and has 24 points.
Go into the bag and see what I bring out now. Left-handed. Deuce.
39 seconds. That snaps a streak of 9 straight points by Philadelphia. 7 on the shot clock. Tony in traffic. As is Parrish. And all alone is Kevin McHale.
Well, he snuck by the defense.
One way to get into the flow of the action coming off the bench. 1 point lead now by the Celtics in the last shot of the third period. 6 seconds to go. And Tony takes it. 1 second. That would have sent the roof off of this place. But that is the end of the third period with the Boston Celtics holding on to a slim 1 point lead over the Philadelphia 76ers. We'll be back with a fourth period. Al Albert along with John McLaughlin at the Spectrum. We enter the fourth quarter and it has been tight. The Celtics hold a slim 1 point lead against the Irvingless and cheekless Philadelphia 76ers.
And Boston was Archibaldless, and now he's in the ball game. I guess they have decided to play him at this point because it was very doubtful throughout.
Been a running duel this year. Should Tiny come off the bench? Should he start? Well, the last 4 games, he's been out with a sinus condition, and now he is back for the first time. Bird unleashes. 26 for Larry Bird.
Al, he's so good at coming off the ball, leaning away from the defense, way out on the sideline, and still putting it in. You know, he'll take a shot as a defensive man. You think, he can't make that.
Reggie Johnson takes it right back at Larry Bird. 14 for Reggie Johnson, and Bird brings it back down. Archibald with Ainge, Bird, Parrish, and McHale for Boston.
It's been a fast break-less second half. Both clubs playing half-court ball, and Bird continues as he clears through and comes out to the top to pop.
28 now for Larry Bird. The double figures rebounding, got at least 5 assists, our last count, early in the second half. And now Boston leading by 3, and they come back. Tiny Archibald airing it out again, sets up Parrish, and he'll get to the line. The unfortunate man caught back was Bobby Jones.
Now there's a situation, an obvious fast break is not there. They get a rebound, the defense is retreating, but because Archibald pushed it quickly and Parrish got into it with him, the Celtics go to the line. That's what Archibald can do for the Celtics, obviously. He'll force them to run. He'll bring them along because he advances it so quickly.
Robert Parrish head on with Malone this year. Parrish is averaging 16 points and 11 rebounds. Malone, 27 points and 16 rebounds.
Not bad stats, huh?
5-point lead now for the Boston Celtics, trying to snap a 3-game losing streak. Philadelphia's won their last 4. That's since they lost 2 in a row. Lost to Boston and lost to the Nets back-to-back. First time they have lost back-to-back this year. No team has ever gone through a season in the NBA without losing at least 2 back-to-back. Haynes has really been able to come up with a loose ball.
That's because he hustles. He hangs around that 8 to 10 foot area, and he can get those long balls that come out.
Bird with the scorching hands and a traveling violation, and that gets Billy Cunningham a chance to insert Moses Malone, and Reggie Johnson goes out. So now it's the big lineup for Billy Cunningham up front with both Moses and Clement Johnson.
Right.
It'll be at the same time.
It'll be interesting to see if Clement Johnson now guards Parrish as he did in the first half rather than going against McHale.
But Parrish ruling the boards right now. Ainge hustles it up. He has McHale.
McHale rather silent for him here tonight.
5-point lead for Boston. Tony is blasted. McHale silent until then.
Well, Kevin going over to talk to Gerald Garrison saying I came through after the shot and then fouled it. So don't call that one. Tony might help it along a little bit, but you have to come out and play Tony's jump shot as you do Bird for obvious reasons.
Tony 3 of 6 from the foul line. Only Reggie Johnson has gone to the foul line besides Tony on the Sixers, and he missed his 1 shot from there.
Team fouls are even at 1-1 at this point.
21 for Tony, 20 for Malone, 28 for Bird. Those are high scores.
Well, that's going to be a hooking call on Parrish.
And he's getting close to a tee. Doesn't want to give the ball back to Dick Pavetta. Now hands it to him.
Now what's happened here, we saw Bird set a screen for Parrish. Parrish then go to the box to post up. They ideally wanted a switch to occur, but the Sixer defense was there. It did not have to switch.
5-point lead for the Celtics. It's been some time since the Sixers scored. Archibald gets it right into the hands of Parrish.
That pass was threading the needle, to say the least, and Archibald one of the best at that game.
And the Celtics now open up a 7-point lead. Tony playing with the 4 fouls. Malone gets behind Parrish and then finds some help.
Well, it looked like Malone may have been fouled, but apparently not, and Bobby Jones then picking it up, drawing the foul. But one of the problems Philadelphia's had here over the last few minutes is their key people, Tony and Malone, and Malone in particular is a guy you're going to get a good percentage shot out of. He's a guy that they have to get the ball to.
Wonder who the foul's on?
McHale.
Number 3 on Kevin McHale.
I would have known that if I just tuned in.
Bobby Jones. Well, Billy Cunningham will bring him along slowly. Coming off the fractured right big toe. He has not practiced yet with the team. He's been back for 3 games. And it was Jones who missed those 2 games in which the 76ers missed or lost back-to-back. Darrell's all right. They're just mixing it up. These people getting the feel of it. It was actually, was it a charge on Archibald, or was it the block on Garrison?
It certainly should not have been a charge on Archibald. Darrell catching one in the face and people applauding. That always kind of worries me. You know, this is not gladiator time.
I'm sure it's good-natured, John.
I don't know.
Now watch. Is it a block or the charge? Darrell, did he have position?
Oh, that's a charge. Definite charge.
Darrell appeared to have been set.
Archibald's so difficult to play like any good, quick, penetrating guard. You try to stay in front of him. You try to take his left hand away because he is a left-handed player, but he'll go right on you.
Funny, looking at my scorecard, I want to put the foul down on Garrison. I couldn't find it.
Roby in for Parrish. That means, Moses, it's time to lean on one another.
So Archibald, scores his first point in a week. Garrison, though, he's tough, roughing it out. You see a special feature about Darrell Garrison tomorrow night at halftime of our first game, Indiana at Dallas. We had mic'd Darrell for one of his ball games. Interesting feature. Moses Malone. I wanted that one, says Moses.
Well, he made an excellent play, and he spins so well for a big man because he spins quickly.
And this call is going up against the Celtics as Rick Roby comes back in. Bumper and thumper. Yep. Roby and McHale are in there, and we have seen the last 2 times down, the bodies flying. So a timeout has been taken with 8 minutes and 6 seconds to go in this fourth period. The Sixers coming back again. They are trailing by 4. New Jersey Nets leading Cleveland by 5 early in the third period. The Nets closing in on Boston for second place in the Atlantic Division. Jersey just 4 games behind. And Detroit trying to salvage a playoff spot. They are dropping, though. They lead Utah by 5 early in the third period. Detroit right now, with a record of 29 and 36, are kind of falling out of the picture in the East. They're right now 4 games behind Atlanta in that last playoff spot.
That's a great shot, isn't it? From that shot, you get an opportunity to see what it's like to play professional basketball if you're under 6 feet.
Or if you're lying on the floor. 8 minutes to go in this fourth period.
That's how Charlie Crist sees the floor.
When he hears about that, you're going to have to face him. 89-85, Celtics by 4. Franklin Edwards comes off the bench shooting. And Clement Johnson.
Who, me? Well, he and McHale can bang it up pretty good, too. They're crash and bang there.
Clement kind of gave it away. Can you imagine the officials weren't going to call it on him? But after that, all right, now, Larry Bird seeing Bobby Jones. Classic matchup. Bird with 28 points and the scorching right hand. Tiny, the left hand. That one's pretty hot, too. 91-85. Archibald gives the Celtics a 6-point lead. 7:20 to go in the fourth quarter. Tony bumping with Henderson, and he was just getting position. 23 for Tony.
Boy, he gets that position so well. And, of course, Henderson's still right there with the defense.
No question that one was on Archibald. The officials clear out, and Archibald takes a Celtic down.
And that's Tony. Now watch the penetration. Tony steps in and takes it. That could have been his 5th, but obviously he was in good position.
So now the Sixers could cut it back down to 2. 7 minutes still remaining in this fourth quarter. Sixers doing it without Dr. J and without Mo Cheeks. Edwards blasts the baseline. Reset of the 24 as Bobby Jones flies inside. Moses digs in. Almost broke the backboard with that shot, and it's a 2-point game.
He's amazing the way he shoots those off-balance shots and still controls them, and that was a good block by McHale on the penetration by Jones.
They could tie it up. Down by 8 moments ago. Tony searching, isolated on Bird. Got it.
Foul, I believe. I believe there's a foul on that. Tony scores on the pick. And, of course, you give him an open shot quickly like that, the back man must step up. Now watch. Bobby Jones will set a screen. Bird Bird should step up, but he was looking for the penetration as he stepped side or baseline, and Tony cans it. Now, what was the call? The official.
Well, a foul was called.
Clement Johnson got the foul. That's what happened on that off ball.
Look at Bobby Jones reaching in. And
oh, beautiful play by Gerald Henderson.
Spoon-fed.
That's called
Larry Bird.
Flash offense. Look at this. He comes through on the weak side as the defense looks to the ball.
So the Celtics back by 2. 5:55 left in the fourth quarter. Edwards with that stutter step. No, but he'll go to the foul line.
Well, Archibald a little unhappy out there a couple of times now. And what is happening there, he has to fight around the screen, and Edwards plays it well. Now watch. Now, Archibald is saying, come on, Bird, come up. But Larry did the right thing. He had to retreat between Bobby Jones and Edwards for fear of the fact that Bobby Jones could go right to the basket and get a dish down.
Franklin Edwards at 6'1", 170, the 12th leading scorer of the nation at Cleveland State, averaged 25 a game there. First-round draft pick for the Sixers.
How many shots a game did he average? Curious. I'll bet he got a lot of them up.
Well, we'll have to check the NCAA guide on that, John.
You mean you don't know?
Not at the fingertips.
Oh, okay.
High ball game, 93. Archibald. And it's pulled down by Malone. Here comes Edwards. Archibald coming in after being out for 4 games, taking some liberties with that really long shot, one-on-one. Now Tony darts inside. Sixers lead it by 2. 27 for Andrew Toney. A timeout called by the Celtics with 5:17 to go as this joint is jumping as we pause for this word from our local cable system. Well, there's the Eastern Conference lineup right now. The playoff picture, Philadelphia and Milwaukee ahead of their divisions would get the bye. Boston finding some company from New Jersey, only 4 games behind. And the New York Knicks perhaps heading for a showdown with the Nets in that first round. And Boston would play Atlanta if it ended that way. Washington 3 games behind Atlanta. Detroit 4 games out.
Well, obviously, taking nothing away from Atlanta, Boston would still rather play Atlanta than New York or the Nets.
And in the West, it's Los Angeles and San Antonio. The division leaders, Phoenix, Portland, Seattle. Watch out for Denver.
Wow,
they have now won 11 in a row, and they are within striking distance of Phoenix, the number 3 team.
What a great spurt they've put on. And in this ball game, the Sixers have taken the lead. Andrew Toney on that last basket put them ahead.
It will not go for Kevin McHale. The Sixers in the last 2 minutes have outscored Boston 10-2. And Franklin Edwards has number 5.
Now, this is an example now when they could really use the experience on the back line because Edwards is pushing a little here. Cheeks, of course, could give them that. He's a good offensive player, but he just forced the play here. He was going to take that shot. He had 2 men in front of him.
4:50 left. Celtics looking to tie it. Parrish a rainbow. Toney takes the spill. He and Bird crisscross. But the ball will stay into the hands of the Celtics. They'll have 8 seconds to shoot.
Whenever there's an air ball shot, normally the man on the inside position, which should be the defense, is at a disadvantage. We have a 20-second timeout for Toney. Is at a disadvantage, and that's what happened to Toney. He was setting up for the rebound because the ball hit nothing. It came off as an air ball. He wasn't in position or ready to handle it, and of course, no one in this building, I would presume, although I've seen some number of Celtics fans here, I was going to say no one in this building as a fan would want to see Toney get hurt at this point, but there are a number of Celtics fans in here.
Well, you notice Toney was turned around by Bird as Bird was going after the ball, but seems to be okay. Toney with 27 points, playing with 4 fouls, and how many more moves that can be made by Billy Cunningham. He has Edwards on the bench with 5 fouls, and now he has Toney on the floor alongside of Clint Richardson. Maurice Cheeks missed last night's game because of tonsillitis in Indiana. So did Julius Erving. He missed it because of a sprained right wrist as the 76ers came away down the stretch, beat Indiana 132 to 128 with Malone and Tony leading the way. And tonight, second game in 2 nights that they have to do it without those 2 men. And this night, it's without Erving and Cheeks against the Boston Celtics. Coming up immediately following tonight's NBA game, professional wrestling from Madison Square Garden in New York. In the main event, Big Bob Backlund takes on the magnificent Morocco for the World Wrestling Federation heavyweight title. Also featured are the Wild Samoans, and Andre the Giant will be on hand. That's professional wrestling from Madison Square Garden coming up next on the USA Network. Coverage will not be seen in the New York metropolitan area.
There's a good tag team right there. You and I might make a good one, huh?
Well, won't beat this one. Bill Fitch and Billy Cunningham. They have also played chess against one another for the last 3-4 seasons. And right now, Bill Fitch had his concerns. The heck with Philadelphia playing without 2 of their all-stars. He knew that this game would go down to it regardless. 4:33 to go. And the Celtics trail by 2.
The Sixers, by the way, obviously called a regular timeout after the 20.
The little man Richardson trying to help out on Parrish, and he pays the price.
A lot of contact now. This is when they're really starting to dig in the trenches inside. As a matter of fact, McHale and Clement Johnson had enough contact. I thought perhaps a foul would be called prior to this one by Richardson. A lot of post-up play now. People dumping it back in for good offensive position.
Robert Parrish, 12 rebounds to go along with his 15 points. Celtics just can't get back. They've relinquished the lead. They led by as many as 8. They've had several opportunities to tie it up, but the best they could do is to move to within 1. 4.5 remaining. Sixers with a ball and the lead.
ML Carr now on Tony, obviously for defensive purposes, and ML is a good defensive player.
That was a pinpoint pass to get it over Parrish.
It was. The defense was perfect. Parrish is fronting. Tiny comes in to give weak side help. That pass had to be perfect, and it was.
It was just a man helping out from behind.
Right.
Tony has 27 points.
Look at this clear out. Clear out, right side for Tony. Bobby Jones cleared away. Bird had to make a decision. Do I stay? If I have to stay, I have to go all the way up and double team. You can't stand and zone up.
Well, Carr had the opportunity to take on Tony earlier in the game, and now with it on the line, Bill Fitch figures that this is his best defensive matchup against Tony.
Carr, not the same quickness of Tony, but he has that size and that reach. But I think that's probably good offense for Philadelphia. Clear it out and let Tony work.
Tony is 6'3", 190. Carr at 6'6" and 210. He is 4 of 8 from the foul line.
But the greatest asset in this game is quickness.
29 for Andrew Tony. And it's a 3-point lead for the 76ers. 4:12 left. Archibald with Tony. Bobby Jones on Bird. Carr in for his defense.
Well, that's not a shot Boston wants. And isn't it interesting that Bobby Jones, since he's guarding Bird hasn't been getting those open shots as often.
Tony and Malone, those are 2 players you should focus on.
Oh, beautiful.
Malone scraps for it back. The fire in the eyes of Moses Malone. He needed that bucket, and he got it. Nobody would stand in his way as Philadelphia's lead now rises to 5. Moses Malone, $2.2 million a year, and the Sixers may have gotten themselves a bargain.
Just a pick-and-roll situation. Tony makes the play, and he's done it all night long. As well as scoring, he's been passing. Malone oftentimes will miss that initial shot. Watch it here. Now watch, this is a different look. A great camera angle here. Good work. Look at this pass. Now Malone just flips it up. He'll do that quite a bit, but he gets his own rebound back and then scores.
Tony had 6 assists in the first half. doing it all. He's clicked for 29 points and probably up around double figures in assists, and it is certainly worth another look.
Well, there's certainly no secret to what their offense is going to be, is there? Give it to Tony. He's going to go one-on-one, or he's going to work with Moses. But even with that, with the great skills of the players in this game, defensively, you can know what's coming up. That doesn't mean you can stop it.
Tomorrow night, we will be right back here on USA for more NBA basketball, a doubleheader. John and I will be in Dallas, the young Mavericks who are fighting for a playoff spot against Clark Kellogg, the hot Billy Knight, who has scored 40 in each of his last 2 games, going up against DeGuire and Vincent and the Dallas Mavericks. In the second game, it is Houston against Portland, as Portland right now in the middle of a battle in the Western Conference. I guess you would say they are dancing in the seats.
They're getting into it.
I think we've been seeing better moves on the court, though. Philadelphia has out-streaked the Celtics 14-3 in the last few minutes. You're saying this has been a game of streaks. It's a question of who gets the last streak.
Who streaks the best at the last?
Well, it's a 5-point lead for the Sixers. 3.5 minutes to go. Bird got it.
He can help you streak. He came from the left off of a screen on an angle right between the free throw line and the top of the circle, and of course Kansas. 15
field goals, 30 points for Larry Bird. Tony, dragged the foot.
Good defense by Boston that time. And Billy Cunningham's trying to show them a different look, but the same people. Give it to Tony, give him some screens, that time from the top of the circle, but the double team came on the right.
The intensity level has certainly risen here at the Spectrum. McHale takes Clement Johnson inside. Malone sailing. He's the man that tipped it to his teammate. 3-point lead for Philadelphia. 2:50 left. Garrison calls the foul on Archibald. Number 3 on Tiny.
But when Tiny gets switched off, and look at the contact there, Moses helping it along a little bit, but when Tiny gets switched off on Tony, the Sixers certainly have an advantage there, and will take advantage.
Tony not helping the cause of the foul line, where he is 5 of 10. He's looking for his 30th point.
He's a good free throw shooter also.
80% from the line. Drops under 80% tonight. But the Sixers now lead by a couple of field goals, 196. 2 minutes 39 on the clock. Clement Johnson pulls it down. Tony on the run with Archibald. Bird hustles back. It will not count. No, traveling.
Oh, traveling fall. Excellent play by Tony. It just didn't go on the travel. They could have had a 3-on-2 situation, and at the other end, he elected to double up Bird at the right time.
So instead of a 6-point lead for the Sixers, the Celtics could cut it down to 2. Tiny. And that's exactly what has happened. Archibald sinks it. It's 100-98.
But when you get double teamed, Bird can dish it off nicely, and Tiny shoots that jumper just well enough, doesn't he?
2 minutes left. Tony baseline, he bumps, and he gets it back again. Spins it outside, a full 24 on the shot clock. And the Sixers will talk it over. 1 minute and 47. Billy Cunningham, I don't know if he figured he'd be in this position at this time. Leading by 2 with the ball. Julius Erving is not playing tonight with a sprained right wrist, and Mo Cheeks with tonsillitis also out. Tony claiming he didn't walk, and did not look like he did.
It didn't. It looked like he had that foot down. Let's judge again. Now, again, we have a second and third and fourth opportunity to look. The officials don't. I'll call that a travel. For sure in college.
You know, you look at that. That was slow motion, and it was too quick to pick up, you know. Well, right now, Philadelphia 76ers, this is their test of character tonight going up against the Celtics. Celtics come in here steaming. They've lost 3 in a row. Their last game being booed on their home court at Boston Garden, beaten by the Knicks. They've had a couple of games to rest, aiming for the 76ers. Sixers come in injury-riddled, 2 of their stars out. But they have certainly responded. Plus, Sixers played last night.
That's right.
Traveling here.
But you know Billy Cunningham will be the first to tell you he will never underestimate Moses Malone and what he can do for this ball club as well as Tony. And we're taking nothing away from Boston because over there they can do the same with Larry Bird that Philadelphia can do with a Moses or a Tony.
Tomorrow, doubleheader, Indiana against Dallas. John and I will be there, and it's Houston versus Phoenix. Earlier we had mentioned Portland. Houston at Phoenix with Eddie Doucette and Steve Jones.
Yes, I hope they're enjoying if there's any sunshine down there.
Sixers with a 2-point lead. And the ball. 7 seconds on the shot clock.
Al, that was excellent defense by Parrish to keep the ball from going into Malone. But then it's just Tony with that individual effort.
Well, he has survived the foul trouble, and he is there in the closing minutes. 1:20 to go. Ames squirts inside, and Clement Johnson yanks it down. The fans standing here, they could feel it now. The Sixers lead by 4 with 1:10 to go.
Buckner in the game for defensive purposes for Boston.
Moses Malone lost his mouthpiece.
Yes. Boy, Parrish is doing a job in there, keeping the ball away from Moses in good position.
50 seconds left. Celtics trail by 4. Moses looking like a bull in a china shop there, but the Sixers will get the call. Time down to 37 seconds. And let's see exactly what happened. Moses in the middle of it, and it was Buckner pulling on Moses Malone.
And there you see the foul. Moses perhaps getting a break there, but not being able to get the handle on it, but he'll stay with it. He'll go after it, and he goes through the line. Malone on the year, a good free throw shooter, especially a good free throw shooter for a big man at 78%. He has 14 rebounds and 26 points in this ballgame.
Moses M. Malone. Middle initial standing for machine.
M.
And he has been cranked up again tonight. 13 field goals, 26 points from Malone. 37 seconds.
Yep. I was just going to say the same thing. We'll probably see Boston start to look for a timeout right away, yes, and talk about strategy. Well, Philadelphia would certainly like to have one free throw to get it off that even mark, because at this point Boston is 2 baskets away and they don't have to look for that more difficult 3-point shot. They want to come up and score on the percentage basket right away.
Well, if they did, they certainly have the shooters in Larry Bird. Danny Ainge is certainly in his range, although he has not been highly successful. Scott Wedman, the man who came over from the Cleveland Cavaliers, and he has seen no time tonight.
And he's a super player, and it says a lot for him. Bill Fitch, I think, has a high regard for him, the way he talked about him prior to the game, Al, because he said he's an intelligent player. He understands you don't come into a good ball club and start playing. If you're traded to a weak club, then they can build it around you and you'll play right away. But in Boston, we can't just start inserting him into this lineup because we have such a deep, strong team.
With Wedman, I believe the focus for Fitch and the Celtics is the playoffs.
And the depth that it gives him, and also the scoring, and he talked about that.
Well, the funny thing is, Billy Cunningham has certainly worked Clement Johnson and Reggie Johnson into his team, who is slightly better than the Celtics this year. Well, he found a spot for 2 players in his winning lineup.
Well, you know, L.A.'s done the same thing, picking up Dwight Jones from Chicago, a veteran player, who shores them up down the line in case of injury, in case they need them in those playoff situations. Philadelphia has done it with experienced players in the two Johnsons.
But what I'm saying is where Fitch is not finding the time for Wedman, who's been an all-star, Cunningham has quickly found time for two of those players coming in.
And in L.A., they're getting Dwight Jones some playing time.
All right, right now, the arithmetic, 35 seconds to go. Boston on the short end right now, trailing by 4 here in Philadelphia. The season series is deadlocked at 2 apiece.
Guess who's in the game right now?
Scott Wedman. Scott Wedman, who is obviously a three-point threat. He's 10 of 25, a great outside shooter, but he comes in cold off the bench.
Well, they don't need 3. They need 2.
Right now, they need anything.
They need a quick 2.
Parrish goes every which way and cans it. 18 for Parrish at the 2-point game with 22 seconds.
Now, Philly will not have to shoot, so Boston will either have to go for the steal. If they don't get it, commit a foul.
And they go for it early.
Well, the way Tony's been shooting free throws tonight, that's a good play. If he misses one, then they're a 3-point effort away. And in Wedman and Bird, they have great 3-point shooters. Ainge could throw it up pretty well. It's probably not fair to expect Wedman to be able to do it. He's been sitting out for 2 hours.
And Tony has been making just about one of every 2 from the line. 6 of 11 as he steps to the line here. Andrew Toney, along with Moses Malone, for the second straight night, taking over in the absence of Irving and Cheek. 2-point lead.
Missed it. See the miss.
And you called it as soon as it left his fingertips.
You could see it was off. Of course, I have that eye, you know, Al. Now, he must make this one, and the hoop gets a lot smaller when you miss the first one. 20.
And now it comes down to the 3-point play for the Celtics. So they have worked it out now that they still have a shot at it. 16 seconds to go. Wedman, 10 of 25 from the 3-point range. But again, he has watched 47 minutes and 25 seconds of this game from the bench. Larry Bird is 17 of 53 from downtown. Danny Ainge is 4 of 23 as the defense is now mapped out. They know what's going to happen. It's a matter of stopping it. You know, you wonder, you take a look at a Wedman coming off the bench, if we may get somewhat progressive. In baseball, the relief pitcher has the bullpen to warm up. You wonder if ever...
basketball player has no place to warm up. You can't even stretch.
In the back, put up a basket.
Run out the hall and run some...
Get another camera back there so we could check who's working out in the bullpen. Well, the Celtics wish they had that tonight. 16 seconds to go. They have to go the length of the court, and that's no problem. They have plenty of time. Maybe too much time to work for a three-pointer. 10 seconds, and Bird in traffic.
Oh, my. He almost made that, Al.
And it almost was a 4-pointer. The clock ticking down. It has stopped at 3 as a foul has been called. Sixers would have rather it run down. And this crowd standing and yelling for their team.
Now watch this. Watch Bobby Jones step up behind. Defensive man in front. He still gets the shot off. Everyone in the county knew it was coming. And it almost went. I'm amazed by that. That is not an easy shot to even get off, especially when it's telegraphed.
I'm going to say also a possible 4-point play had he made it, but they hadn't even called the foul on that attempt.
Bill Fitch says there should be 5 seconds on the clock.
Malone is fouled by Ainge. So Moses looking to steal it. He has 2 shots. Needs to make one of the 2 to make everybody a little happier here. And wastes no time. 27 for Moses Malone. 104 to 100. Victory number 55 for the Sixers, just 3 seconds away. We're a month away from the playoffs, and you can count their losses on 2 hands. And there it is, the Philadelphia 76ers, without Julius Irving, without Maurice Cheeks, beat the Boston Celtics 105 to 100. They now move 11 games ahead of Boston in the Atlantic Division.